Hello.
Hi, Gail.
Hi,
Steve.
Gail.
Hi.
Hi, Jim.
How are you all doing tonight? Nice to see that snow on the ground, don't you think?
Winter is here.
It sure is.
For a few minutes.
Yeah, well, it
Hours.
melted away pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't have my snow tires on yet.
Oh,
So that was a little bit of a fail, but I have an appointment on Monday.
well, I'm not a believer in snow tires, I have to confess. I just try to plow my driveway well enough so that I don't have to use them to get up the driveway, which is always the biggest task.
Yeah.
You can get up your driveway, Jim. I think,
Yeah,
You're good.
yeah.
You're good.
If I can. Last year was not good at all because because we got these little snowstorms that froze, and I couldn't plow the stuff off with any ease in order to make the driveway somewhat passable. So I had to sand 2 or 3 times during the wintertime, which is not my idea of a good idea, of an afternoon of fun.
Mm.
Gail, your new car must be all-wheel drive.
It is, and it desperately needs snow tires. The
Really?
first time I drove it in a storm, and I was like, it's good. And I drove a Prius before, so I was like, it's going to be fine. It was so bad. I almost didn't make it home. It was almost one of those pull over and ditch my car in a snowstorm on the side of the road and walk home situations. So
Oh, no.
I'm a firm believer in snow tires, at least for the car I'm driving. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I've never gotten snow tires for the Subaru. The tires now are getting down a way such that, I could stand tires for better traction. And if when I do that, I'll find ones that are particularly good in snow, but I'll still not aim for snow tires.
Yeah.
Gail, did you get stuck this morning somewhere?
No, I was just talking about how I don't have my snow tires on, and today was a non-issue, but I really need them. So
I put mine
on
Tuesday. So
yeah, good for you.
yeah, it was last minute. I guess winter had to start eventually, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did.
Well, Graham, I should mention that George Arvanitis made it back from Nepal and from the Everest area.
Wow.
In seemingly good shape.
You sound surprised.
Well, I was surprised, especially after hearing his stories about how his fellow travelers did not fare as well as he did. And they didn't do all the places they wanted to go because they caught the Khumbu crud, which is what I warned them against, and not that you can do much about it. And one of them developed a bad knee and couldn't do the one high pass that they planned on doing, and a whole bunch of things. But George seems to have fared pretty well, no altitude sickness or anything. So he just ran right along there, plunged up those mountains and plunged back down again.
Good for him.
By a funny chance, I was at a book meeting, and his wife Marty Arvanitis, she mentioned that he was away and that he occasionally was able to get internet to say hi, but but not very often, of course. So
yeah, well.
Is this something he has done before? Or?
No, he's never been there. And he followed much of the same route that I did back in 1994. And so I had written about that. So I gave him a copy of what I wrote, just from my journal, condensed from my journal about a year or so ago. And I don't know whether that influenced some of his choices or not, but he did the smart thing. He started at low elevation right near the Nepal India border, and then hiked steadily towards the high mountains and went up and down, which is what really conditions your body really well for that kind of a trip. And it rained a lot initially, And then it cleared, and he was the weather was fine thereafter. He did come home with a case of COVID, which he probably caught on the plane or something. God, I can't imagine traveling on Qatar Airlines, you know, from Kathmandu to Boston, and not coming down with something horrible that one would get on the plane. But
just watch out. There's a triple whammy at the moment. Everyone knows about flu and
yeah,
COVID, but
I know.
RSV, it's going through all the daycares. Our grandchildren.
Oh yeah.
All our
Yeah.
grandchildren have got RSV.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And they're okay because it's quite serious.
Yeah. The 2.5-year-old got 102.5 fever for a night or two. You know, my daughter was a little worried about that, but and she knew kids who'd been admitted to a hospital for
Oh boy,
RSV. So yeah, but yeah, what is it? The Department of whatever Labor and Industry, the federal crowd said there was more sick people reporting last month for the month than during the whole COVID pandemic, with people out ill. So and daycare's shut down and stuff like that. There's the background.
Well, it's good that we don't have to share any germs here on Zoom.
Definitely works, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. I don't know if Craig's coming, so we'll just get started here. First order of business is to approve our previous meeting minutes as amended from October 19th. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Great.
Aye.
No one made any changes since last night, right? Or
Nope.
last 24 hours. It was all done early. Okay, because
Yeah. Yep.
I moved the file over into another location, getting it ready to upload it.
All right. Graham, anything from the hut to report?
Not much. I shook out the mats. I looked more closely at now I've got heat pumps in my own house. I discovered that it's better to do the filters every 2 weeks, which for the air filters for the heat pumps. So because they only run half the time, so I'll increase the frequency of vacuuming, cleaning, shaking out the air filters to once a month. So and the other thing, Gail, when I log into SimplySafe, I keep on forgetting to tell you, you might have already updated the software, but there's a little flag that says that that you got to go to the keypad and reset the software.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you'll see that you'll see that when you log into SimplySafe, it's got a little red tag against, like a message thing, and I'm sure it'll tell you what to do. I'm assuming that I don't have I didn't want to mess with it because it's in your name. So.
Yep. No worries at all. I'm going to be there sometime over the next week,
Okay.
but maybe 2 weeks anyway, to do a big hard set on the door.
Oh yeah.
We're in a bit of a lag of getting our new security procedure set up. I mean, everything's secure. It's, the building's secure. It's just transferring all the monitoring of that from Croc over to Holyoke Gas and Electric. They actually use a third-party 24-hour phone answering service. So we've figured out the process of how all that's going to work.
So it won't go to the police. SimplySafe will call their security people, will they? Is that how? Well, okay. No.
Yeah. So the procedure is that when an alarm is triggered, so somebody enters the hut and is incapable or does not enter the code appropriately, the first thing that happens is the hut phone is called by SimplySafe, and they call and they say, "Hello, do you know the safe word?" And then if they can't give it, and the alarm continues to go off, of course, they immediately dispatch the police to there. And then their next call is going to be to actually me, you, and Northeast Communications.
Okay, so
So they do
Northeast
that
Communications,
simultaneously.
Northeast Communications will then do what?
And they will then do a quick eval and then notify whoever's on call at Holyoke Gas and Electric for escalation. But by
Okay,
then
yeah.
the police have already been called. It's
Yeah.
it's like it is happening. It's on.
And who is Northeast Communications?
They're a subcontractor of Holyoke Gas and Electric.
Okay.
So it's basically a 24-hour on-call service for them. So they use it with their own operations.
But-
Yeah.
So potentially, would we want to consider getting rid of Simply Safe and having Northeast Communications provide the service directly to us?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no, because the whole point of the Simply Safe system is automatic monitoring 24/7 with the cameras, with the environmental monitors, with smoke detectors, with the temperature sensors, you know. So
Okay,
that's what we pay for through them.
So Northeast does not provide that equivalent service to Holyoke?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's all in process. And anything else in the hut, Graham?
Not a thing. No, shook out the
Okay.
rugs, swept it out.
Wonderful.
Gail, let me just add, have you done the door? You're changing the PIN code on the door. Have you done that before? So
I've not done it before. I remember you saying it's a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna go dig out the manual from the filing cabinet and
and then don't pay too much attention to the instructions. Use your own. When it says something, say,
okay.
that's what it means.
Okay, good to know.
If
As soon
you
as
want-
And Gail, make sure you have the override mechanical key in your pocket and not locked in the hut, because we could be
yes,
it'd be a hard place to drill into.
will do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
And
key is in the filing cabinet in the town hall, isn't it? Instead of.
That would be the best place for it. Yes, where
It
a
is.
firefighter could find it or something.
Yeah. And Becky has a copy as well.
Oh, okay, good. Two of them. Excellent.
Yep.
If Gail, if you want me to come by while you're doing that, give me a call or an email. But if you want to do it on your own, I'm fine.
All right. Thank you. I'll let you know if I feel like I need a backup for that. Yeah, I mean, it's possible I'll even start it and be like, I actually can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll let you know.
I don't think
That complicated. Okay. All right. Maintenance has been very quiet so far, which is great. Graham, today I met with Sheld and we now have a system in place so that when a dispatch happens, they're going to make a little listserv of notifications to go out. Kelly at Sheld is setting that up. So sometime in the next 2 weeks, any dispatches, you should see that come into your inbox. Whenever we do any of these notification processes, I always find that they're not perfect the first time. So this is probably going to take a couple iterations. Like it's going to come, but it's going to be like not have quite the right information or missing the address. So I found that there's not a great way to be proactive about this. We just kind of wait, see what it is, and then iterate off of that. So anyway,
Evolution
yes.
works fine.
Yep. Yeah, Sheld has been funny about it, saying like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry that it's taken so long to get I haven't even gotten a bill yet for the last 3 months of all the maintenance. And I'm like, it took 9 months to get these processes in place with Crocker. It's a really complicated, like every single little thing, you have to figure it out of what the format's going to be and who's going to send it and what information, like everything is a process. So anyway, we're getting closer and closer to the finish line on all of that. I in relation to that, I don't have much of a financial report to give all of you yet. I did get my first paper check for a little bit over 29,000 from Sheld for the month of September services. So I have that in hand. I'll deposit that for Ryan to take care of. But if you remember, the municipalities can't do direct deposit, so it's annoying, but it's fine. Let's see.
The shifting of the phone, the cutovers of the phone, no hiccups on that. Are they just kind of rolling batch by batch?
Yeah, so here I'll go right into the manager report here. So
just on finance before, while we're still on finances, you got that request from the FinCom for a preliminary budget or something. I was just curious what you told them at this early date.
I said we will be presenting our budget to you. We don't need any town funds. We're self-sufficient, but we'll, as usual, keep you informed of what our, budget and rates are going to be in 2024. So,
good.
Yeah,
okay. I just wondered what you told them, because that's obviously, but
yeah. Thank you. We don't need your tax money. You're welcome.
Well, we are last on the, in other words, on the as far as meeting with FinCom, we're the very, very final, sort of after all the Sturm and Drang from all the other departments in town, we're actually in last place. So that's sort of an indication of how much attention they feel it has to be paid to Shutesbury Net.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm glad I think they trust us, right?
Well, they ought to, and I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
All right, great. Any other financial questions? Okay. So I'm happy to report that the last batch of phone ports went today. It's been a very busy month to get all that done, but they are done. We have a handful of stragglers that is going to be done next Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. And Crocker is checking all of their records to make sure that we didn't miss anyone. So the bulk of everyone is done. So how
does one become a straggler? Do you know?
Yeah. With these bulk phone port lists, some of it was just Crocker not giving us the customer originally, and then they got lost in the fray. Some of it was errors, and then when there's, I'm not sure I understand this completely, but it sounds like if there's some kind of error of something isn't matching up, because the phone carriers have to transfer these codes back and forth saying, I'm authorized to take this number. Are you going to give it to me? And if there's any errors in there, a customer can get kicked back to the original carrier. So overall, though, it's been fairly smooth. Like I said, only a handful of stragglers for next week. For all of the ATAs, the analog telephone adapters for people with 2 numbers, it's required a truck roll for every single one of those customers to get their ONT and that ATA configured correctly. So there's maybe 10 of those or so in town of dual numbers. So we're down to the last 3 of those, who are people who Sheld has had a hell of a time getting a call back. So they are, we did some work today on finding alternate numbers for them just by doing internet searches. And last resort, they're just going to send them a letter and just say, you need to do this. But in the meantime, it's a little weird, but we're going to port their number anyway. Sheld is going to hold it, and their phone is just going to stop working, and that will prompt them to call us. And the reason we're doing that is because if we don't, and Crocker, and then they're basically, their phone number is held by nobody, and then they lose their phone number. Yeah. They lose their number, right? Oh, yeah. So anyway, we are going to do this. we'll take the number, we'll hold it until they start calling and complaining. We'll be like, well, we've been trying mightily to call you, and thanks for calling us, because now we can schedule your ATA configuration.
Of course, it's always possible some of these people don't want that second number anymore. It's something they had for some purpose a while ago,
Mhm.
and just never bothered, canceled it, and just keep
Yeah.
paying. And so
UMass made a lot of money on departmental phone bills, the phone numbers that people, the dean would just sign off on, the 350 phone numbers, having no idea whether they were dead or, anywhere. So yeah, it happens. Definitely. People have phone numbers and they don't know they're paying for them.
Yep. So now that we are through the last big batch of phone switches, I have to give a little cheer. We did remarkably well. I was really worried about this. I was worried about hundreds of people calling in that their voicemail didn't work, that there were problems. And we only, through that, the whole process, got less than like 20 contacts of people calling with issues. Some of it was just voicemail questions. Some of it was actual problems, like something in the port went wrong. The number was assigned incorrectly. But again, very low numbers. I've been shocked and very pleased about how few problems we had. I think a lot of that was due to the lots and lots of communications that we put out. All the emails that I drafted with the help of Sheldon, then sent out a week ahead of time, a day ahead of time, on Nextdoor, on our, just lots of, as we've always done, just lots and lots of communication to try to let people to know what's happening. So anyway, all that is good news. We still have about 20% of customers who are not paying their bills. So these are people who have had lag bills, or they just have never paid Sheld since September. We anticipated this was going to happen. People see the Sheld bill come, they just throw it out, not realizing that our providers have changed.
So this is not the case when we were with Crocker. I assume their unpaid bill, whatever that figure is, whatever that term would be, was very low.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Kind of like you're always going to have a rolling average of people who aren't paying their bills, and I don't know what it is, but 20% is definitely a lot more.
Yeah,
a lot of these folks have just never paid, which indicates to me that they just don't know that there's been a switch. They've been ignoring the bills. They think it's being paid auto pay. So what's happening now this week is that we're sending out friendly reminder emails of late payment notice, and also snail mail letters are going out with a big blue late payment notice. So that's going out now. That's going to hit before the next bills go out at the beginning of December. So they'll get the late payment notice, and then right on the heels, they're going to get another reminder in their December bill. What I'm thinking is that we're going to send out final notices in mid-December, and then do a shut off in mid-January. Because now if that happens, people's bills are September, October, November, 5 months late. So we're being very generous, and doing everything we can to try to get people to pay their bill before they get shut off. And
then there's a restoration fee, right, for putting it back in. Yeah.
Gail, you said that there were 20 people?
20%.
20%. So that's about 156 people. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well, that's more than I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
Over 100. Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay. In others, so one of the things that I've been working on with Sheld about our processes is about our inventory, right? Because we keep an inventory of pre-connectorized drops, we keep an inventory of jumpers, of NIDs, of all equipment, and we have a dedicated space at in that warehouse that we saw where our stuff is stored. And I have made an executive decision that we're going to stop doing that. And here's why. What Shell does in their in-house operations is they don't use pre-connectorized drops. They use one-end connectorized drops only at the MST end, and then they splice on the other end. Turns out that it takes the technician a lot less time to go and plug into the MST, take the open-ended drop, go and splice at the NID than it does to take a pre-connectorized drop, connect it ends, and then do the cord management of the fiber management of coiling it appropriately. Apparently, that is a really annoying and time-consuming process. It also means the drops cost more. As an example, a comparison of a one-end connectorized drop for 150 drop cable is $45, where it's $75 for a dual connectorized. So
Say that again.
yeah,
So-
so a one-end connectorized drop, so an open-ended cable is 45, and a dual connectorized is 75.
Okay.
So we're going to save money on materials. We're going to save money on labor. And then also just process-wise, the painfulness of trying to keep our own inventory and keep it stocked, and then have the technicians have to make sure that they take the time to go and get our materials there. The Shell technicians just have all this on their truck all the time. So
Makes sense.
it really makes, this makes sense. Like I said, I already said, do it, because there's no reason not to. It also makes sense for us to stop stocking ONTs, because we're using 12 a year, and Shell has over 500 in their warehouse. And when they drop below 300, they order another 500. So, you know, I think this is just a way to really take advantage of their bigger operation here. And it just does not make sense for us to keep maintaining inventories. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I assume we'll work through the inventory we've got.
Yeah, we'll work through it first. So, you know, over the next year, we'll go through ours first. These do have a shelf life, you know, they don't last forever. So we you know, and we don't want our stock forever, but you know, our stock will come in handy for particularly long drops, you know, the 800s, the 500s, the 1000s. We have a couple of those. But this is just, yeah, it just makes so much more sense to be integrated into Sheld's processes entirely.
And our contract only has a 10% markup, is it, that they do for
Well,
their materials?
it's gonna happen either
Awesome.
way, right? We don't save
Oh.
anything by keeping our own stock, because we still have to order through them and pay 10% markup.
Oh,
Oh,
Regardless.
okay. If we're
Who
if we're
cares?
ordering them, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
it makes
just
no sense.
the original installation was always pre-connectorized at the MST, and then chop off the it's a $10 thing on the end of it, because it's always the wrong length. I mean, sometimes you fluke it, but there's no ONT where they coiled. I mean, that they managed a lot of a lot of cable. There's a little bit of a service loop at the MST end, but mostly they connectorized at the ONT, because that was just how you get rid of the last bit. So,
Gail, so the single-ended connectorized drops are probably all in varying lengths, correct? In other words.
Oh yeah, they still come in different lengths, just not quite so much variation. So it's like 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, and I'm just pulling that out of the air, but they still,
Right, okay. All right.
yeah. So it's not like everyone's 1,000 and then they're cutting a huge amount off. They still do have different lengths of them,
I
just
see.
less.
I see.
Yeah.
So when they get to the gray box on the side of the house, they how do they splice into how do they work that particular connection inside that box?
They chop off what's left, the
Right,
excess. They don't coil it around the ONT box. They chop it off at the right
The
length.
nid
They
box.
put a little $5 connector on it. Yeah, at the
okay.
nid. You're right.
Oh, so they add a
Thank
connector.
you, Steve. It's the nid. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, at the nid. Okay,
So-
all right.
So as it is now, with the pre-connectorized, you connect it at the MST, you drop it to the house, you open up the nid box. If you've got like 50 extra feet, you got to coil that inside the nid box.
They always chopped it off.
They chop it off anyway. They're not going to do that and then
I
resplice.
watched
Okay.
them do it a few times. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
still do it even with a pre-connectorized.
Because they don't want to be coiling up all that.
Oh,
No,
it's really, it's annoying and ugly and time consuming.
and it's a
and-
problem. It's
yeah.
a service problem for
Yeah.
squirrels chewing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Or the bees that I had chewing.
The bees, yes, man.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Yep. All right. Little housekeeping issue. Can you guys tell me when your positions on the MLP board expire? I just want to keep track of it. So, well, I think we can reverse engineer this. So so Jim, you were just elected now in 2022, right?
Yeah, this is my first of 3 years.
The first of 3, right? So you expire in 2025. Or your
Right.
position, not you. Don't expire. Your position.
Let's
I
hope
probably will.
Position.
you're not
I'm
looking
getting old.
good, Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got the annual report here.
All right. And I think that Graham, you were elected in 2021 and you expire in 2024. And Steve, I think you were elected in 2020 and you expire in 2023.
No,
Nope, not
actually
right.
not.
Okay.
Graham and I both expire in 2024.
Oh, you're both 2024s.
Yeah.
Okay.
A year, and at the time that, well, whenever this was being done last year, a year ago, last spring, we said, well, should we stagger these, make one of them, a
Mhm.
2 year for now, and then go to 3 year so that it's staggered each year. And we heard back from Becky or Grace that no, just leave it the way it is.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I remember that. It was a don't bother, yeah. So we didn't bother.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So there's nothing, nobody is up for re-election next year.
Oh, good. We get an election break.
We
What
do.
everybody needs.
It's like a midterm or
Yep.
whatever. Yeah.
So unless there's like a recall motion here to overthrow us, we can have smooth sailing for a year.
We're safe for a while. Though we could get
Okay.
impeached, Steve.
Yeah, don't get
that's
impeached.
true. Yeah.
All right, I've made a note of that in our permanent records. Thank you, Steve, for looking that up. All right, other little housekeeping things. December 2nd, there's going to be a celebration with the governor in Ashfield about the Last Mile project. Don't get too excited. It's not going to be like an evening event or black tie. It's going to be like an hour at 11 a.m. or something. I have added all of you to the invite list for this. In other words, when Bill Ennan asked me who should be invited, I put all of you on the list and our past broadband members and Becky and some other stakeholders. I'm a little, I'm not concerned, but December 2nd is like in 10 days and they still haven't sent out the invitation. But anyway, if you are interested in going, what I suggest you do is block off December 2nd so that you can, go if you want. Again, it's not going to be a big deal. The governor is going to be there, but it's going to be one of those very quick. We all arrive, we wait around, the governor whizzes in, says his remarks, takes some photos and leaves. And then there'll probably be some other speeches and thank yous and et cetera, et cetera. So
And
December 2nd.
So this is
The title of this event is is called what?
It doesn't, I don't know what the title is yet. So I would say last mile celebration.
Around 11 a.m. Did you say?
Something like that.
Somewhere there.
I'm light on the details. Sometime
yeah.
during the day on that day, I heard the time of 11 a.m. thrown out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Again, no obligation, no, just if it's something you're interested in.
They're gonna give us lunch.
There you go.
Well, there'll be food and beverages. Yeah.
I don't think so. And
Yeah.
I highly doubt it.
BYO, Steve.
Yes.
Brown bag it.
Brown bag. Yeah. Oh, dear.
Okay, this is Charlie Baker's last hurrah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good it's not the new governor because I'm a plaintiff in a lawsuit against her. As the attorney general.
That's right.
So she wouldn't invite me to lunch. That's for sure. I'll send you an email. Don't worry. I'll send you the
Okay.
sometime.
We don't need to know this.
Yeah, off background. Oh, in background. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to this scale?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, maybe
Let's just say I'm expected to be there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
maybe we can carpool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll just keep in touch, wait till
Yeah.
the, invite comes out and all that. All right. So other things happening is I am working on the key man plan for us, otherwise known as if Gail gets hit by a bus plan. So I'll have that ready in December, along with access for all of you to the files, just in case. Digital equity and the MBI meeting yesterday. That's kind of my last thing to talk about, but does anyone else have anything else to add? Any topics?
I just had one thought, and we may have brought this up before, but I wonder if there's any way that the town website, the homepage, Shutesbury.org website, could have a hyperlink direct to the Shutesbury Net page. There's links to the library, to whether it's bottles or paper recycling. It seemed like if that were on there, because
Very good suggestion. Yeah. No.
You need to go to, there's a choice of committees or boards, and you got to choose the correct one. And then you go down that drop down to broadband.
Here, I'm sharing the sharing our screen here.
Yeah.
Oh, where do you think we should put it, Steve?
Well, somewhere.
Like maybe down here?
Well, I put it higher, but because I think,
yeah, it's pretty fundamental. So it's kind of something that someone might go to the town page trying to work out what the hell they do.
Maybe here under helpful information,
or maybe over on the right-hand side where it's we got the library, the tax collector, the library, contact officials, and so forth.
Town officials.
I guess that's probably where I would see it.
okay, somewhere over here on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Okay, let me make a note and I'll see what the web committee can do.
Yeah, I reckon the broadband is probably a little bit ahead of the tax collector. That would be, town admin, town clerk, and then Shutesbury Broadband. Just from the point of view of being able to, spot it. What happens when you look at services? If you click on the, there you go. What emergency fire?
We're not there.
Yeah, not there. So,
No, we're under committees and boards active. So yeah, it's
that's totally the wrong
complicated.
place.
It's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
Very clunky.
Yeah.
Good suggestion, Steve.
We could easily be under services. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Do today and add to services,
Yeah, there you go.
services header.
Double whammy. It's an important service.
Yep, okay. I'll see if I can get that done. Also, I have changed the identifier for broadband at Shutesbury.org. So now it just says MLP manager as the person who that goes to. Previously, it was being sent, it was coming up as the broadband committee. And so it was just misleading. You know, some people thought like, oh, this is going to the whole committee. No, it's only going to me. So
Good.
I
Yeah.
fixed that.
That's a good thing. Some people were confused, I remember.
Yep. So that is fixed. Anything else? All right. Well, we can talk about the digital equity piece then. Jim, I'll ask you, what were your impressions of the meeting yesterday? Oh, I should fill everyone in. So the state has $50 million in ARPA money that's earmarked specifically for digital equity projects in the state. And this is just a portion of the money that is possible to get from the federal government, but it requires the state of Massachusetts to apply for that. So Mass Tech through MBI is creating a process to collect information from municipalities around the state so that they can apply for more money in the federal way. So there's this whole process where they're going through and collecting data and information from towns that want to improve digital equity. What is digital equity? It means people can get access, so physical access, like building out a network, what Shutesbury did, so that people actually have internet. 2 is devices. So do they have technology, adequate computers, smartphones, tablets in order to get on the internet? And 3 is digital literacy. Do they know how to use it? So these 3 things are what it means for digital equity, making sure that everyone has access to broadband technology. So municipalities can apply, it was just released this week, to MBI to go through something they call a charrette process, which is basically a discussion, a preliminary discussion to figure out what your needs are, or a planning process, which is a more robust analysis to find out which, like how to improve digital equity in a town. All right, so I'm going to stop talking there for a second. Jim, what did you think? What were your takeaways of what they said?
Well, your explanation was a lot clearer than what I heard on the internet. But the one thing that I sort of grabbed a hold of in trying to sort of make sense of how we could possibly fit into this was the very first part, where there was a reference to the FCC map, and that map, apparently, from what I understand, shows every broadband connection in a town and in the state that is listed in some way, and that this map would be important if we wanted to apply for monies to connect people who are not presently connected, using this federal and state money. And the map is going to become available this Friday from the FCC, and MBI wanted to update have us and others update the map because there'd be bound to be inaccuracies in it. Am I making any sense, Gail? This is why I sort of gathered this. This is what I sort of latched onto, because that was the way I was thinking, because we could use it to connect up those who don't have a connection and maybe can't afford it, or we could use the money to maybe improve some of our hardware. That's a little bit I'm a little bit less certain about that because we're pretty much fixed in that department, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
complicated.
I'm a little bit skeptical that we would get any money for an infrastructure build.
Mhm.
And the reason is because we pass already every single home. It's unclear to me if the last mile, so we're going to say those driveway installations would be eligible for any federal funds. We can certainly try. I don't think that we would be eligible for any kind of hardware or system upgrades because we already meet and exceed their definitions of high-speed access by a lot. And they were pretty clear in their presentation that the infrastructure builds are going to go to the unserved first. So, you know, they're not going to make an improvement to us because we already exceed by a lot the FCC definitions of very adequate broadband, and we pass every single household. So I don't think that there's a lot of possibilities there for us. Yeah. You know, I'm even skeptical about, you know, a lot of these towns want to use this money for municipal builds. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do it because they were very clear that they don't want to see overbuilds. You know, if an area already is served by Verizon or Comcast, they're like, well, if there's money left over, you can go after it, but this is not going to be in the first batch. You know, they really want to try to go after unserved and underserved locations. And so
how many of those are there left in the state?
there's actually more than you would think. There's more
I'll
than you
bet.
would think.
Yeah.
You know, Shutesbury was lucky in the way that we were completely unserved. And so, you know, we were able to get the state money. It's other towns where they're like, they have that extra little percentage in their town, you know, 10% of these edge people that Comcast won't serve, and they're just out of luck.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
and there were 44 underserved towns in the Wide West thing, and some of those towns didn't vote to spend money on it, so therefore they're probably still underserved, right?
Incorrect.
No.
Are they all every one of 40?
Incorrect.
53, isn't it? 53
Yeah.
towns. Or
53, you're right.
Yeah. So every single township in all of Massachusetts, except for one, has been built out. Or well, I shouldn't say completely, will be built out within the next like 6 months.
Okay. Well,
yeah. It's very impressive. Massachusetts is now, I think on the presentation they said the second most connected state in the nation.
all right.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really, really great.
Gail, what's the one down?
Good question. It's
I wonder.
I don't know.
No one's ever been there.
Yeah. It's I think it's one of the western south border towns, like near Connecticut. I saw a map at one point that had had it on there.
I wondered if it was Montgomery.
I know, I did too. God, that was a rough one. So yeah.
But this map that you don't think that that they are, it seemed like they were going to wish to service those situations where there were unserved people. That seemed to be, that was one of the first things that they talked about and referred to. And I thought that might be easier than going through all of the other stuff that followed, having to do with the communities that maybe people don't have laptops or something to that effect. They don't have a router or, all of that kind of stuff. But there was an attempt to really try to get everyone connected, even in towns where there may be that possibility may be fully available, but not in gear yet, so to speak. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood.
No, you're absolutely right that they do want towns to go in and accurately check for accuracy on the maps that are about to be released by FCC and the maps that are coming out from the state of Massachusetts.
Mhm.
So yes, one thing that I think qualifies as served, though, is if a service passes your house. And so all of Shutesbury is
Oh.
served. Now, I know we still have people who are not connected, but they're technically served because the service, they're able to get service.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so one question I'm wondering is, should the action that we could take is submit an application to the MBI to get one. I think we would probably skip over the charrette process, the discussion process, and go right into planning, because I already have a pretty good idea of what we would want for that. I don't think we need to talk about it a whole lot. Infrastructure wise, we'd want some extra funds to cover the unserved. So the people who have yet to be connected, who maybe can't afford it.
Mhm.
And we would go after devices for people who need it. I could imagine working with a library, working with a school, working with a senior center to identify any people who can't afford adequate devices for connections. And then the third one is technology literacy. So, running things like town programs for people to learn about all things internet if they need to. So I don't know. The other kind of question is, FERCog, I know, has been approved as one of the kind of vendors to deliver these MBI services to towns, and we're part of the Franklin County, so we might be lumped in with this. All of these services are free; they're paid for, so it's not going to cost us anything to participate in this.
Mhm.
And this is the first step to getting a portion of these digital equity funds. So, how about as a next step, I send out the links to all of you for this, and you can just take a look on your own and just kind of think about it, think about how we might approach this. And then we can talk about it in December during our next meeting. Unless you just want me to go ahead and apply. Thoughts?
I'm fine to just letting you go ahead and apply, but I'm glad to look at the documents if be useful.
I'm easy. I'm happy with them spending money on the underserved, and I agree that they shouldn't think Shutesbury is underserved. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to get the money to the people who really need it.
So Graham, you're meaning like don't do it because we're already served. Do you?
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
chase money unless there's something that, like, unless they were saying, because our issue is the one you've identified, that we got gigabit per second, and FCC, what did they say, 25 megabits per second is high speed internet. So we really do look pretty, and what have we got, 80%, 85%?
Oh God, no, we're topping 90.
Topping 90% subscribe. So yeah, I like you say, I don't think they're going to want to go up long driveways to catch anyone, but yeah, you can. I mean, I'll go with whatever your assessment is. If you could get money to upgrade our routers, then that'd be great. We need Wi-Fi 6 routers next. That would be that would be where I'd say money could go. So.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any. There's not a whole lot we can do in terms of infrastructure development. Maybe maybe routers, but again, I don't know if they're going to pay for that because we're already like more
Yeah.
than adequate.
Yeah, that's
We're-
it. Yeah,
yeah.
this is not, yeah.
Right.
That's
However,
that's sort of.
However, what I'm wondering is the other parts of digital equity. We've got the infrastructure covered. We are good. What about getting devices to people who need it and more education? Do you think there's a need in Shutesbury for this?
That would be a great thing to offer, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And-
All right. Why don't I just, I don't think there's any harm in applying for this. So why don't I just start to work on it? And I think the earlier we get in before other towns mobilize, the better chances of,
We've always been good at that. Yeah.
yeah. And also and if FERCog does something regionally, that's great. Maybe our plan can be rolled into theirs. But from what I've learned over the last 7 years of this is that the more people you involve, the slower the machine goes.
Yeah.
So
you're going to apply to FERCog or through FERCog or directly?
no, directly, just
Direct,
do it
yeah.
for Shutesbury.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
As I'm thinking about this, I mean, the only other area I can see on digital equity would be something to handle some of the monthly fees for people of limited income, limited means. But there's already 2 programs we're participating in for that. We've on our own reduced our fee by $15 a month. I suspect we have one of the lowest charges out there as it is. So not to say that the charge would still be prohibitive to somebody that just doesn't have money. So I say that's the only other area I'm thinking of. And, that could be a case, well, Shutesbury is a fairly relatively well-off community, but whether you live in a well-off community or a poor community, it doesn't matter. If you don't have money, you can't afford something.
Yeah.
So. But I wouldn't know how you apply a one-time grant towards an ongoing expense.
No, I think the ACP program is the best part of this. And I have a feeling that some of these federal funds are going to be siphoned off to support ACP for a longer period of time. It was always that was only going to continue until the funds ran out. And I think they're going to keep it going.
That
right
would be
now,
good.
yeah, I just looked again and the benefit provides a discount of $30 per month.
Wow.
So if people in our town are paying $60 a month for internet, they cut that in half with the $30, plus they can combine it with Lifeline, another $10 off for $20 a month for gigabit speed internet. So I think we've nailed this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The affordability part. I do know that not a lot of people in town have taken part in this. So, that could be also part of our digital equity plan, is a big marketing push to let people know, hey, this is available. So.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That just made me think we could just even do that on our own.
Yes, that's a good idea.
If we looked at, how can I get, anyone know how you can get income levels by address?
Income.
Is it
No.
not a way?
No, because you don't want to do that, because you don't want somebody to be able to go up on the web and go to your address.
No, I guess not.
Earning. So, and figures like that are, there's a term for which I can't think. They're all
metadata with
metadata. Okay, so we can do that. We could do some kind of push through the elementary school and the senior center and the library. Just a little advertising push of like, hey, not sure you're aware of this, but you can cut your
Yeah.
internet bill in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, flyers. The school would certainly put flyers in their thing
Yeah.
to if one offered that, because
Yeah.
they would see that as high value.
All right. I'm going to add this to the ever growing to-do list.
Ah.
Think about.
They also are aware of which families have school lunch programs, so they kind of like, they have a handle on stuff like that.
Okay.
So the $30 possibility is, this is ARPA money from ARPA?
No,
source?
no. The
The ARP.
$30 off is the already existing ACP program that was instituted
ACP,
during
okay.
COVID. So it's the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Mm.
So it's already available. It's happening. We did release it. We advertised it back in the 2020. But not a lot of people took advantage of it.
Was that the one being administered by Westfield Gas and Electric? That, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it's now, no, I take that back. Lifeline is administered by Westfield. ACP program
Lifeline, okay.
Yeah. ACP is done through our provider. So was Crocker. All
okay.
those people have been transferred over to Shell. That was another part of this whole transfer process. That was a good time.
Very good. Yeah.
The program that Westfield is running, weren't we supposed to get some sort of a monetary feedback for that after things had settled? How has that worked out?
We're supposed to be getting almost $100,000 a year for 10 years through CAF2 funding.
Yeah, well,
Yep. And we're still in the program. We've been paying Westfield to administer it. All is well. If you remember, we can't get any money until all of their work is done. So
all of whose work is done?
All of Westfield's work is done connecting every single town in their census block. So for example, they just finished Beckett like 2 weeks ago or a month ago, something like that. So every single one of the towns in their census block had to be done before any of this money would flow through. So we're very close. And I would expect in the next year, we'd see those kickbacks coming from CAF.
100,000 for 10 years?
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
That's our remaining debt payment is about.
It crossed my mind immediately. Maybe we could go and bribe Greenfield Cooperative Bank to let us pay off that that loan.
Well, no, we don't need that because it comes to us in 100,000 a year chunk. So
well, I suppose, but still.
And oh my God, our rates are so low. There's I think we just pay it off. But yeah, if this works out, we could see another pretty major rate reduction.
That would cover the debt for the foreseeable future. We're already 3 years into this debt, right?
3 years into a 10-year. I mean, we're so good. Yeah.
So we got 7 to go. So we'd have money left over if that source of revenue, if you want to call it.
Maybe we could give our manager a raise.
Yes, wonderful idea.
Yay.
Absolutely. A lot of things we could do with that.
Yeah, a lot of. It's a great time to be in the broadband space. All of this money that is coming in, it really is unbelievable.
Yeah. And, you know, even Washington politics have worked out somewhat in favor of this too. I don't think the Republicans would have leapt on any broadband bandwagons to deal out more money. So I think it looks fairly certain, let's say, for the near future.
Oh yeah, it's got huge bipartisan support. Everyone
Yeah.
just gets this now after COVID. Internet is a utility. It's a necessity.
Yeah.
Gail, did you proceed with the registering as a broadband consultant possibility? Was that something you mentioned a few months ago?
Yeah. No, I decided not to. It is not Jim and Steve. So one of the parts of this whole thing that the state is rolling out is that they're looking for consultants to work with municipalities to come up with the plans, right? Like they need bodies to go in and talk to them. So I did consider throwing my name in the hat, but I decided not to because I'm less interested in the planning process of the whole thing and more interested in the execution part of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also I've got my hands full. So, Michael DiChiara applied and he did get approved. So
Right.
yeah, so he's someone. I did ask FERCog if they do any regional solutions. If they wanted to hire me to do some work for them, I'd be open to that. But you know, I already have a full-time job. I already have a part-time job. This is very interesting and it's fun, but there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Yeah, I have one more thing I wanted to ask. It's a different topic, so but it just occurred to me. I was going to ask about this.
Okay.
I understand from last meeting, December 1st, roughly is when our switch over.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to talk about that today.
Ah, yes.
Oh, it was, yes, it is on the list. So, our Crown Castle connection is up. It is tested. And Holyoke Gas and Electric has confirmed that our switchover date is going to be on December 6th. Actually, this Monday, December 5th at midnight until 6 a.m. on Tuesday, if that makes sense. Okay, so we will be sending out notifications over email about this. The downtime should be minutes unless something goes wrong. So that's why we're notifying everyone that it's going to be happening of a maintenance period.
Midnight, December 5th.
Yep, midnight December. Well, midnight, is it December 6th? What's
Monday is the 5th.
Yeah, so midnight on that so it's happening Monday night into Tuesday morning. So what is that? Is that midnight December 5th or midnight December 6th?
It's always ambiguous. It's always ambiguous to me.
I don't know. I'll put it this way. It'll start at 11:59 on Monday night.
There you go.
Okay. So it should just be a momentary outage while it switched from one to the other, and then everything should be smooth within a matter of a minute or two.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Happening at nighttime when only the real night owls are even.
Oh, Steve will still be up.
I'll be checking it.
He'll be up. I will have been sleeping for 4 hours already. Steve will be up. The nice thing is we still have our connection through Crocker running, and that will continue to run through December. So it's a monthly contract, and I authorized another month of it because the timing didn't work out. And also, if Crown Castle for some reason fails, guess what? We would be out of internet for a month. There's no way to fix that. So it was a necessary expense to pay for it for another month. So that's if something goes wrong during the switchover, they'll just put it back to Crocker's connection, and we'll ride on that until the fix happens. That's going to run until the end of December.
So
Very
therefore,
good.
it does also doesn't matter that it's not being done on the first of the month to avoid the month payment. We've already running on Crocker for almost a week anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So Gail, when all the cutover stuff is finished, it'd be interesting to get from Shell, from presumably Bobby Liswell, a presentation on the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 and going the what that offers, what that would offer. Because I think there's considerable benefit from it, and we need to have the next router to go to anyhow. So
Yeah, we'll start talking about router upgrades in the new year.
Okay.
And we have the 7-year depreciation with plans, but that might be a really nice use of our CAF funding money if it comes within the next year, is to bump up that timeline a bit, and do a full router upgrade. It's only been 3 years, but they're kind of already old, you know?
Yep.
All right, anything else?
Actually, the other piece of that would be if you want to ask Sheld, or that I would be very happy to have the $1.50 extra on my on my Wi-Fi 6 router that they administer. I'd pay $1.50 extra for that fuller service, and so, as people, even before we do the whole lot, if people want an upgrade, then if you could talk to Sheld about what that would look like for individuals who want to get more service and better service and are willing to pay $1.50. I think it was always they said around $1.50 extra a month. I would see that as definitely worthwhile from my standpoint.
Yeah, definitely the managed portion
Yeah,
of it is gonna
the managed
have
piece,
it's gonna have to be a part of that discussion of
but I'm already in a position where I could have mine managed and paid for, so I'd be it could easily be a service or an improvement, an upgrade to those people who have, and it would be places certainly like the school and the library that have a lot of people using their Wi-Fi. The school certainly, that getting a router upgrade. We were going to do it with the ARPA money if they gave us that ARPA money for that. But that's that would be a significant benefit to someone like the school, I think. I'm not sure what problems they do have with their stuff, but where there's a lot of people using something, then that that's nice to have a supervised thing of what went wrong on such and such a day with such and such a service. They can immediately tell you. So
yeah. Yep, agreed.
So
So we'll
put it on your talking list with Sheld, I guess.
Mhm.
The Lifeline program is with WG&E, right? I'm just trying
Correct.
to keep. Okay, all right, and that's
Yep.
where this 100,000 might be coming from, or would be coming from in the years to come.
Yes, although the it's weird, the programs aren't directly related. That in order to receive the CAF funding, you have to participate in Lifeline, but they're not directly related to each other, if that makes sense.
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah, it's a prereq to participate in Lifeline, but that's not there's no relation between CAF money and Lifeline money.
It wouldn't matter if anybody actually took part in the Lifeline or.
Right, we
whether
just have
one-
to, yeah, we have to make it available, and if two
Yeah.
people in town use it, guess what? We're now eligible for CAF.
Yeah.
I see.
And the amount of funding we get from it is not related to the number of participants in the Lifeline program.
Correct.
Yeah, it was not quite clear in my head as I'm trying to type this all down. Or some
No,
of it.
no worries.
One other
Yes.
thing, just look at the calendar, the third Wednesday of December is the 21st. Does that date work for people? Interfere with anybody's holiday plans or? I'm fine with it, but
Sure, no problem.
okay.
All right, anything else? All right, I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there is that, isn't there? Okay, yes, likewise. Yeah.
Yep. All right, bye-bye.
Good night.